Right. So one of the things that I did want to point out as well was people's attitudes towards people that are having that do have weight loss surgery, because some people, those who want to pay private and get it done because they don't meet the NHS criteria, they get judged for it because they're saying, you're just lazy, you can easily just go lose weight. Why are you having this surgery done? It's the easy way out. Trust me, bariatric surgery is not an easy way out. Yeah. Who wants to restrict themselves to milk for 10 weeks, soup for 2 weeks, for then another 8 weeks? You can't, I mean, who would want to, how is that easy?
Mm,
So,
mm, mm, mm.
and yeah, and I've seen, like, I joined a lot of um support groups just to see what other people's journeys have been. And it's just a space where you can get to talk to people that relate. And no disrespect to the Americans, but their attitude is so much different to us, the Europeans. It's like they people over there that have the surgery, it's like they don't talk about it. It's like it's a sin. It's like the worst thing you could ever do. People, marriages have broken up over it. Families have abandoned, disowned relatives because of it. It's a whole different attitude. It's like
They don't agree with it.
they don't agree with it. And they're saying, like, why you want to risk your life to lose weight, and you're just being lazy. All you have to do is eat less and go exercise. If it was that simple, there would be nobody overweight. It was that
There would be
simple.
no diet places,
Yeah,
and
they
there would be
wouldn't.
nothing
And
there.
yeah, and that's the thing. And then because there's so much people in the diet industry that are just okay, they come up with all these many diets, but the motivation behind them coming up with these diets is money. It's not to
Mm,
help an
mm, mm, mm,
individual, it's to
mm,
make
mm,
money. And
mm, mm,
I just see, like, overweight people as like some easy target. We just get scam, rip off left, right, and center out of
mm,
that
mm, mm.
desperado to fit into society's visual of what we should look like.
Mhm.
So yeah, sorry, that was me on my soapbox. Power to the fat people.
Okay. Hello, my name is Yasmin Euphemia, aka Sugar, and I'm here tonight with.
I am Beverly, your UK chunky but funky chick, and we are
You
the founder
idiot.
sisters of Supporter Sister Network, where the aim is to showcase, people, their businesses, their skills, and just whatever life story that you want to share with us. And this evening, I'm my own guest.
Yeah, this evening, right? There's just so much going on with Fluffy Chick, and we just thought we needed to lay some groundwork, so that people know the foundation of where she's coming from, right? So the aim this evening is for us to actually talk about bariatric surgery. Did I pronounce it properly this
Yes, you
time?
did. You got it right. Well done.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, and so so by the end of this session, I'm personally hoping that we would have talked about bariatric surgery, because I think a lot of people hear about it, but they don't know what it actually is.
Mm.
And let's talk about the pre-diagnostics, the operation itself, and what's happened since. And I'm looking at it from a personal point of view, from your point of view, right? And I thought what we would do first is look at why does somebody have bariatric surgery? And what is it? That might even be better still.
Okay. Well, bariatric surgery, as far as I became aware of, is it's usually it's weight loss based, but it's some um reaugmentation of your digestive system that causes you to process food differently, aiding to weight loss. Um, the reasons why people have it, well, some people go private because they're at their tether of trying to lose weight independently. So they might go. Some people go to Turkey and all these other places and pay to get. It's quite an expensive procedure, so they'll pay, go abroad and have it done. But for some people, like myself, if you've got certain underlying health issues and you've also been actively trying to lose weight on your own for a number of years,
Long time.
and your medical records document all of that, then the NHS will fund you having it done once they've seen that you've hit certain criteria. And yeah, so for some people, it's kind of, for me at the time when I was first approved, it felt like I'm being like kind of like say told what to do, because like, oh yes, I'm a big person, but I'm not unhappy with my bigness, but I just feel like the health system blames overweight people for it. We're the cause of the NHS not having money. That's the way how they make it sound. If there were no obese people in the world, the NHS would have lots of money for other illnesses that they feel are more important, because they tend to make it seem as if being overweight is a self-infliction rather than an illness.
But in all truthfulness, the illnesses or the health issues that I've heard you talk about, somebody slim could have those anyway.
Exactly.
So it's just like, well, so is it, so when you're talking about losing weight because you're diabetic, so you're changing your diet, or you're suffering with sleep apnea, you know, those sort of things anybody could have.
Exactly.
And when you started talking about it, you started talking about it as like it's only for weight loss, but there's more to it than that, isn't there?
Well, there is, because like you just said, because like for me, I was diagnosed with chronic sleep apnea. I don't do things by halves, not just sleep apnea. Chronic sleep apnea. It's like I had a very severe case of sleep apnea.
So
And
you're dying every night, basically.
basically
Don't even laugh
120,
at your thing.
120. No, I laugh about it now, but it's like if you really sit down and you think about what it is, it's like, wow, it's 120 times an hour I stop breathing. Don't even know how that calculates, but
That's twice every minute, because
right, okay.
yeah. You
Yeah,
see, are we
right.
just embedded maths there? It must be our teaching.
It's a teacher in here. Yeah, so 120 times an hour I stop breathing in my sleep. So, well, in my what I thought I was getting asleep. So I had that. I'm type 2 diabetic, and I've got high blood pressure, so I'm hypertensive as well. So, and then because for me, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people this would resonate with. I've tried a lot of diets. I'm not gonna say every diet, because I'm sure there's some I didn't get a chance to try, but I've tried Weight Watchers, I've done Slimming World, I've done Rosemary Connolly, what's your name? I've
Did you do
done
the cabbage diet?
I did the cabbage diet. Yeah. Pop up the place, but yes, I did the cabbage diet. I've done Noom, which is a psychology based diet, on online psychology based diet. I've done Paul McKenna's
Oh,
hypnotized.
yeah, yeah, okay,
I've done a few. I've done a few.
okay,
So
okay.
so
So it's
yeah,
not because you were not happy
not because
with
I'm not
your
happy,
weight.
no. No, not because I'm not
Okay.
happy. There was a time when I felt like it was affecting my mobility. Like, because I say was now, I still do, but I was a raver, and I find like all my dance move them when we got to dance, we can't do certain move again because we I
Okay.
get too fluffy.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
was from
Okay.
it was from that angle.
So
That's
it's
why I put that.
partly body image as well.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like to say I wouldn't say like, I was like depressed about anything, but yeah, it's from that body image, being able to wear certain things. And I think more so because I lived in the States for like 6 years. So like there, that's where that was the start of my weight gain, because over there it's like size is not an issue.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and you can get clothes for your
Any
size
size.
in
Yeah.
any shop, because every shop has a plus size section. So in any shop you can get clothes to fit you, and you put on weight, you gain a dress size, just get the next size up. It's just like that.
Mm-hmm,
But coming
mm-hmm,
back
mm-hmm.
to England, where it's only specialist shops you can go to, and they were limited, and the styles that they have didn't really. So it made you more aware of, you know what, I'm big. I mean, I didn't know, but
Okay.
I mean, you see it, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Yeah, but if you're growing big with it, it's like when you're seeing yourself in the mirror all the time, so you don't really see the difference. Like you said, it's probably when you go and buy a dress or something that you think, oh, I've got to go up a size or two.
Yeah, yeah,
But when you see yourself, you don't really, and I think most people would be able to resonate with that. It's only when they see a photograph down the line, it's like, is that what I look like?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but
yeah,
but when you see yourself every day, you don't really realize how how big or how much you've changed.
yeah.
Right. So we know the reason why you went for this surgery, and what is it? All right, I'm going to ask you because what are they doing? Making your stomach smaller? What is it that the surgery actually does?
Okay, so in my case, my surgery is over a two-step um procedure. Yeah. So
Hmm.
um they when I first went, the only options they had at the time was either a gastric sleeve, or a sleeve gastrectomy as they call it, or a mini bypass, no, a gastric bypass. Those are the two options that was available as choices. So I tried to do some research. I mean, I didn't go too in depth, but I'd like, research other people that's had the procedure and what they were saying. And the impression that I got at the time was a gastric bypass, which is where they actually bypass your stomach doing any digestion of your food. It's
Hmm.
like that sounded a bit more intrusive to me. I don't know. So, and then they said that because that one had the side effects of that one was the chance of malabsorption, hair loss, and all the. For me, hair
Because you're
loss, I
not
mean,
getting you're not
because you're
getting
not
no
getting any nutrients from
nutrition.
food, so you're relying
Mm,
wholly and solely on supplements. So from I heard that, I'm like, hey, we don't want that one day. We'll go for the sleeve one, yeah.
mm.
So, and the sleeve is just where they cut a portion of your stomach off, making your stomach smaller, so you can only intake small amounts.
So they
That's all.
actually cut the stomach. I thought they sewed it up.
No, they cut it. So they cut it and make they said your stomach is the size of, I can't remember, like you said, like it's the size of I can't remember, but they cut it and make it like the size of an egg.
Okay.
So and I watched the actual operation on YouTube. They had a doctor, like,
God, thank God for YouTube, I
thank
think.
God for YouTube. So what they do is they make 5 incisions because it's done laparoscopically. I think I
Mm,
pronounced that right. So they make an incision for their tools, one for the
mm,
camera, and
mm.
cause they when they cut it, they burn and cut. It's like they, yeah.
So it's like a laser thing.
Yeah, like this, yeah, they sear off piece of the stomach and staple it. Use some dissolvable staples
Mm.
to I think, and then they pull it out. They pull out the piece that they cut off. They pull it out, and they don't allow us to keep it as a souvenir.
Before I ask you, like people keeping their, what is it? The women, pregnant women keep as
Placenta
placenta.
and the
So you
after
didn't
what's
get
that? The
to,
afterbirth.
yeah, you never
No,
get
no,
to keep the piece of stomach.
never get to keep the piece of stomach. And yeah, so pre op,
Mm.
so because of all that fillingness that they need to do before you even have the surgery, there's a diet procedure that you have to follow, and it's a must. You have to follow. So in the case of me, for my first step of my procedure was I had to do a rapid weight loss diet for 10 weeks, and that rapid weight loss diet consisted of milk, um um stock cubes, and yogurt. That was for the first 10 weeks.
That's all you had.
That's all I could have. Actually,
So
no,
what
there was
did you
no
have
yogurt.
for
There was
as
no yogurt.
roughage?
It was
There's no
just milk and
yogurt,
just milk. No, it's
milk and
milk and
oats
oxo cubes. That's it
for 10 weeks,
for 10 weeks.
morning, noon, and night.
Morning, noon, and night.
You're not well.
Listen, and when they first, because I went, like, say I went to the hospital the Monday,
Mm.
and the morning before I was going, I made a big old pot of cow foot. And you know me love the cow foot. Because I said, I'm not
Mhm.
going to have time to cook when I come home. So I'll cook, go hospital, and then come back. When I get to the hospital, the doctor says to me, all right, so starting tomorrow, you're on this rapid weight loss diet of milk. And I'm like, tomorrow? Yeah, my
And
pot
you got a whole
of
pot of ox.
cow foot. A milk pot of cow foot for going to eat. So I'm like, okay. So I eat cold food so till it start come out my nose because I'm not
There is
I'm
such
not
a
letting
thing as container and freezer, you know.
nah, nah, it's nice when it's fresh. I eat cold food, I eat cold food, I eat cold
So
food.
why would you have to do a rapid weight loss when they're gonna sew up your belly anyway?
Right, good question. So I learned after the fact, many years, I mean, a couple of years after the fact, when I got a new consultant, is my starting weight, which at the time I don't remember when I was in kilos. I think it was 179 kilos, like nearly just under 29 stone.
Mm.
Sorry, was my starting weight, and they don't normally do a sleeve gastrectomy on someone of that weight.
Okay.
That's what I learned afterwards.
But you see, I'm not going to cut you. Hold that thought for a moment. But
Uh,
I remember way back in the, I'm going to call it 90s, it might have been 80s, a friend of mine wanting to do a similar surgery and them sending her away and saying, we will consider you when you lose the blah amount of weight. And she was vexed as anything because she's saying that's the whole point of her having the operation is to lose weight. For them to send her away to go and lose weight, she was not amused.
well, they do that to test your commitment because people think that okay, they go in, cut your stomach, you lose weight, voila, that's it. But that is not the case. So it's to test how committed you are, and because there's so much discipline that is involved, like I'm just saying to you, 10 weeks of milk and
Oxo
oxo
cube.
cube, yeah. And they set targets. So every 2 weeks I had to go to see if I've met the target. Of course, I smashed the
Okay.
targets, but every 2 weeks I had to go to make sure, because they say to you, if when they check you on your target date and you're not at the target that they said, it gets
Mm.
cancelled. It's
Oh
to test your
wow.
commitment. Yeah. So all
Okay.
I kept having in my head, they're not gonna do it. After I drank so much milk, they're not gonna do it. No, 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 no. I have to make sure I stick to it because, like, because that was in a March of that year when I had it done, and it was like every social event I was invited to in March, like as a test. Some of them I had to decline because some of them was actual sit down dinner, so it didn't make sense. I'm going there with a flask of milk and sit down and drink milk while everybody's having their meals. But like the parties, I still went and just make sure I had my milk with me, and I walked with because they said miso soup as well. I never even heard of miso soup at the time, and I got it.
But it's just as watery as oxtail, as
oxo,
though, isn't it?
Yeah. So I got used to the miso. Now when I taste miso, it's disgusting. But then it's like, I guess I was just glad for anything other than milk. Everything tasted nice. So like for parties, I was okay, but like for dinner events, no. And then after I did that 10 weeks of the rapid weight loss, then I did 2 weeks of liver reduction diet, or liver reducing diet, or LRD as its acronym is known. And what that is to shrink my liver, not cleanse it, because that's like someone was giving me liver cleansing recipes. It's not to cleanse it, it's to shrink it. So what it is your stomach is underneath your liver, because they show me like the diagram. It's underneath your liver, and because they need to be, and it's quite tough, so they need to be pliable and small enough for them to move it around. So hence why the liver reduction is very strict. You have to follow that, so that when they go in, they can see. And it's for your safety as well. If you don't follow it, it can have its but they won't even do the surgery. That's bottom line. They'll go in and they say that they can't move around, they can't see, they're out. They're not even going to chance it because of where it is. Yeah.
Okay. So so you've done your diagnostics, and they've considered you, and it's not because you're trying to lose weight, it's for health reasons. And so then you've done all of this stuff, 10 weeks of milk and oxo cubes. Yes, which I can't even imagine 3 days myself, but 10 weeks of it.
Yeah.
You've got to the right weight. You're now ready for the operation.
Yeah.
What happens?
And I mean, you've had all these other, because you've had other appointments and stuff prior to all of this. But anyway, to prep you for anesthetic, because if you're on any medications, you don't take them on the day of surgery. And then I'm out for the count for a while, because I think one of my friends came and she said I was down there for a long time because it was like I was taking long to wake up. So I don't know. To me, I was down there for like 20 minutes, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you weren't awake, so you wouldn't know.
Yeah. So then, so post-op, they recommend moving around right away, because
What you mean, as in walking?
Walking around, yeah. They want you to get up and walk, and all I want to do is lie down. But they encourage you to get up and walk.
You see, like I said, 10 weeks, then you go for this operation. When you wake up from the operation, how do you feel? I mean, what are you expecting?
Well, for me, I just felt really thirsty, but not being able to digest even water. It's like even when I sip water, I was bringing it up. But yeah, so instead of having an overnight stay, I had a 2-night stay in the hospital, just to make sure that I was taking some kind of hydration, and so that I don't come home and be dehydrated and have to go back. But how I felt, yeah, I just felt mentally, I just felt like, you know what? That's a good question. I haven't really even thought about it. I think like just mentally, I just wanted to see what happens next. Where is this going? Like at the time, you just feel like, because weight is just dropping off pre-op from doing all of that stuff. I'm expecting that same result on the other side, as so to speak, that it's just gonna fall off. Yeah.
Especially now that you've got half a stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just gonna fall off. So yeah. So I guess that's where I was mentally. And in saying that, yeah, weight's gonna fall off, but it's like I want to control when it stops.
As
But
in when to stop losing weight, you mean?
yeah, but you can't
Okay.
control it. Your stomach does what your stomach does. So like I've seen like when I look on other groups and stuff and see like where what's happened for some people, they've lost more than they wanted to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have that body dysmorphia going the other way. Now they're too slim to what
Mm-hmm.
they because they would we feel like, well, not we, because I'm not in that category, but people feel like when they can lose and shape a certain way so they can control their look.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's not quite like that.
No, because you still got this the skin and everything, and the skin doesn't shrink as quickly as the fat melts.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Fat
Yeah.
melt. So that's a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
to deal
Because that
with.
was my main thing, was the excess skin is my concern. So I feel like,
Is that included in the operation? Like,
no, it's
okay,
not.
oh no.
No.
Okay,
You'd have to, I don't know, it's a whole level of convincing. You'd have to convince NHS to even consider you for that. No,
okay.
that's a, you're fine. We help you lose. Go sort that out yourself.
Yeah. And basically the reason why I asked you about that is because way back when I started as a beautician, I had this woman and she was Australian and she was beautifully shaped. You know, it's like the shape that you would expect, you know, the hourglass and all
Uh,
this sort of business. And but she'd come for a full body massage, full wax and full body massage. I can't remember what the treatment was. When she took off her clothes, they literally, it's like, I don't think they thought she was going to live because they blanket stitched. They cut her from like her sternum hair right down her middle,
uh,
and it was blanket stitched. Underneath her breast was cut blanket stitch, her belly, and when I say blanket stitch, big, ugly stitches. And so there she had this beautiful shape, but she couldn't show her body because it was like she was a rag doll, all
well,
under here. You could see anyway.
yeah,
Anyway, that's why I asked. That's why I asked about the stitching.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
the
it's not.
stitching, the skin
The skin,
rather.
yeah, no, skin removal is not a part of it. So
Hmm.
yeah. So
Okay,
I
so
think in my head mentally, I kind of tend to self-sabotage because I'm worried about that skin.
you are worried about it.
Yeah, of having all this
Okay.
skin hanging down. But then you can wear stuff, I suppose, to hold it together. But like you said, you can't. I wouldn't. I'd probably feel very conscious to show, like in a swimming costume or something, if I got skin hanging down. Whereas now I'm not conscious because I'm just big. That's it. But yeah,
Okay. But we went seaside last year. You didn't look like you had anything hanging. You look good in your swimming costume.
well, that time cause you not see it, but me see it.
Oh, okay. What I see and what you see is two different things.
Exactly, because that's another thing as well with having surgery is you don't see the change physically. You don't see it. It's
You as
only
the person that's had the surgery.
yeah, you the person who had the
Okay.
surgery. You don't well, I didn't see my weight loss. It's only if I see a before and after picture then I can say,
Okay,
oh
but people, and that's again, like I said at the beginning, because you're seeing yourself every day, you don't see
yeah,
what the changes are.
yeah,
And I have to say, I've done Slimming World, and I've had people look at me and say, "Well, what's a lot of weight you lose?" And I'm thinking, "What are you talking about?" You know, I'm not even going by the scales. I'm going by, I don't feel any different. My
yeah,
clothes fit me the same, not taking into consideration that the seams aren't bursting anymore. You
yeah,
know, it's not the clothes are now swinging. But
yeah.
yeah, because we see ourselves every day, we don't realize
And
how much.
also we're very scale motivated. So if we don't see it on the scale, we think we haven't lost,
Yes.
but some of it is inches, and you lose it in inches, your shape different, your proportions change, but you might still weigh the same. A lot of the time, I
Mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm.
when I used to go swimming well and Weight Watchers, they had all the excuses to give you to make you feel better. When you go on the scale and there's been no change, they would say, "Oh, you're gaining muscle, and muscle is heavier than fat, so
Yes. Mm-hmm.
therefore, they used to tell you all the stuff." So I know all this feel of to why you might not, it might not reflect in the scale, but it might reflect physically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sort of thing. So in the from the post-op point of view, you've done the operation, you've had to do movement. Can you now eat normally?
Well, yeah, after it takes 8 weeks before you get introduced back to solid food again.
So you're
So
still on the milk and
you're still
oxo
you're still
and not pushing it, but you're still on the milk and oxo cubes.
well, you're on liquids. Because now remember saying they've gone in and they've cut and stapled up your stomach, so it needs to heal.
Mm.
But at the same time, you still have to take in something while it's healing.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh,
you start it. So just consider it like a baby just born, and you wouldn't a baby just come out the womb, give it two boiled dumpling and piece of yam. You'd have to start it off with the milk
okay.
liquid and make its
Uh-huh.
little stomach get to develop, and then you give that baby some puree up food like in the baby food jar. Then
Mm-hmm,
you'd give that
mm-hmm,
baby some crushed banana with little gravy or crushed potato or whatever.
uh-huh,
Then you
uh-huh.
start introduced to solids and that's the
Mm.
same procedure that we have to go through after that introduction back into food. And then what you'll find also is the food for some of the foods that you could eat before, the tolerance level of it is different. So you just don't eat them anymore. Like for
What
me,
do you
one of the
mean
things,
tolerant? What do you mean tolerance level?
like if I eat it, it makes it hurts to eat certain foods. Some foods it hurts to eat. Some it makes me want to just heave and bring it back up.
Is that the amount or the type of
The
food?
type of food. So like for me, bread, like
Okay.
if I eat bread, it just feels like someone used a sponge
Mm,
and you put a sponge in a tight glass with water and it suck up all the water. That's
mm.
how bread feels. So I avoid untoasted bread or thick stodgy breads. I tend to, if I want to have a sandwich, I'll have a wrap, or I buy them little tiny bread there that the slices are quite thin, and I can, or the thins where I can
Okay.
toast it and it's very crispy. I tend to more have crackers now instead of bread. So there's certain things that you know you can't really digest as well. And they recommend when you do start eating solids and you're chewing, you should chew your food 20 times before you swallow it. So you like
Okay.
minced it to water before you
But
swallow it.
that's what we're supposed
We're
to
supposed to do.
do
But
anyway, because I
listen,
remember that
I'm
from
not enough time
etiquette class.
grabbing meals at work in between, trying to have a quick break. Nobody got time for 20 to choose yeah, 22.
I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of attitude that is,
I
but
know.
you know.
And then because I like my food really hot, I like to eat. I like when I eat food and I can blow on it and eat it. But
Mm-hmm,
obviously,
mm-hmm.
with the new stomach, I my food is always cold. I take ages to eat, and yeah. And then there's these times when you forget that your stomach has been reduced, and as I always say to you, my eye bigger than the belly moments.
Mm-hmm,
I would,
mm-hmm,
yeah, I just have two bites of something and I just look at the plate and think, why did I even put that on my plate? It's like I know I can't eat it, but
mm-hmm.
yeah. But other than
So
that,
I now know that your stomach is cut because for some reason, because I've heard people talk about staples, I just thought it was stapled down and when you get to where you want to be, they undo the staples. So that means you'll always have a small belly.
Yeah. What they used to do back in the day, they used to have another procedure called the gastric band. So what the gastric band did was they put a saline ring around your stomach and inject it with saline to reduce the size of your stomach. And then once you get to the weight you want, then you can let out the saline. But then what they found with that was obviously weight gain, it just comes back because now there's no reduction to your stomach or anything. So you just go back, people are going back to, and plus for some people, the saline ring slip off. So it was causing a lot of health issues of having it. So they don't even consider that as an option anymore in the NHS. It's either or either. But now they've been, experimenting more and coming up with more procedures. So you've got like a mini bypass. You have what they're going to be doing for my revision is a SADI. You've got, there's other.
Oh God, you start throwing in these names now.
I know.
And by rights, I should be asking you. I mean, what's a mini bypass? What's a SADI?
Well, a mini bypass, I guess, is just what the name implies. You got gastric bypass and then a mini one. I don't know. Maybe they take it not as, I don't know. I'm not even going to make it up. I don't know what a mini one is. But the SADI, which is a single anemosis dual illidini, something like that it is. But all that means, cut the long words into layman terms, is just single anemosis is just a single connection of just rearranging the connections inside using one connection, single anastomosis, whatever you call it. Yeah.
But what
so all they're going to be doing,
one part of the digestive system to another.
Yeah. So they're going to so like your think you're digesting. I'm not really a science student or biology
student. Is the word you're looking for.
Biology student. I'm not one of those. But you pick up little tips here and there when you're asking questions. So from your digestional tract, comes down your esophagus into your, does all that processing, your liver, your kidney, everything, processed food goes into the stomach, down the stomach into your intestines.
Is it large intestines?
Large intestines, and then the small intestine on the way out. So in that connecting point, because in my first op, they removed also a gland that produces the hormone that makes you hungry, called ghrelin. They removed that so that you don't get hungry.
All right.
Right? That hunger hormone. So what they're going to do now is, all right, first up, they reduce the size of the stomach. They haven't changed the connections, just reduce the size of the stomach, remove the ghrelin gland. This time now, they're going to take away some of the...
So you're actually going, hold on, rewind. You're actually going for a second operation now.
Yes, I'm going for a second operation because, like I said, for my starting weight, they wouldn't have done this sleeve gastrectomy on me in the first place. That wouldn't have been an option. But because that's what I opted for when I was given a choice. Because then, I mean, ideally, they would tell you the options and hope that you choose the one, because they don't tell you what to do. They just give you the options. Okay. And I went for the option that I thought, remember, I'm not medical, so I don't know, but I thought it sounded less invasive.
Intrusive.
And the after of it, I would still feel normal and have some level of normality. So I went for that one. But for my weight, that was not the best not say it's a bad option, because some people have of my weight had it and they've had the successes that they want. But for me, that was not the case. When I say successes, they had the desired result that the health professionals wanted them to have. So for me, that wasn't the case. So hence why they said to me what they at the time they said to me they will review me after a year to see where I'm at, and then they would do the second part of my procedure. But in my case, my surgery was in 2019, so there was no review in a year because of the pandemic. So I didn't get reviewed till 2 years later, and that was only because I kind of felt left in limbo and wanted to know what's, and then and I started gaining, because you can eat normally, not as much, but you can still eat normal foods. So for me, I started to have some regain. So before it got out of control, where I've just undone everything, I just went back to kind of get the support that I would have had a year later, and hence
Two
why we're
years
here
as a
now.
case, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the year later, I should say. Right. So I got that support 2 years later, hence where we are at this point now, where I'm going to have the part two. So, if I mean, my aim is to kind of dispel some of the myths and the preconceived theories that people might have about weight loss surgery, even if like it's someone who's on the pathway themselves and they're a bit worried about what it's like and what it could be like. And if you have any questions pertaining to that, I'm I'm an open book, because me, I don't have no shame. We'll tell you everything. We'll tell you what they're doing before when they don't. But yeah, I
Oh
don't have any
gosh.
shame. I don't. I feel like people need to know, because I know when I was doing my research for surgery and I'm trying to look at someone else who's already done it to see what it's like. And they were just like, this was me before and this is me after. And it's like, they make it look like there was no in between. It was just, I had the surgery, everything was fine and dandy. I lost my weight and woohoo, look at me
And
now.
that's why I was asking you about how you felt when you came out, whether when you woke up out of the operation, you looked to see if you lost weight.
No, I didn't look to see if I lost, but because I obviously know what I weighed going in, so I know it's not gonna just. They haven't gone in there to take off anything. They're just got to take out my little stomach to make the weight loss continue. So I just figured like it was just gonna be like just going on life as normal, and it's just gonna fall off. There's no effort involved. You just have your little small amount. You just lose weight, continue to lose weight until you get to the size that you like and they're happy with, and that's it. It stops and woohoo, that's me. But no, there is still work involved. It's what the mindset needs to be, and this is for anybody that's having the surgery done. Your mindset needs to be, this gastric intervention is only a tool to aid in your weight loss journey. It is not the solution, it is an assistant to your weight loss
Okay.
journey.
Okay.
That's all it is. Yeah. It's not a magic one. Whoosh, it will make you lose weight. You still have to put the work in to help it, but it's just a tool.
Well, thank you very much for that. You've made it much clearer about what bariatric operation is about. Okay, and I'm hoping that people out there that like you were doing research comes across this and perhaps gets a answer to the things that are niggling them.
Because I haven't put much, but I'm trying to chronicle it. A realist view of this life before, during, and after operation. Not no before and a real thing view. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All right.
it.
Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank
I
you
think that's a wrap.
for me talking, and yes, that's a wrap.
Thank you. Bye.